So I want to start off with the question that so many people have is that, is this disc ever going to be the same again? That have herniated or bulging discs, sometimes they go into the doctor, they get the MRI scan or whatever it may be, and they get told, it's never going to be the same again. And we feel often like that means that we're never actually going to be out of pain. I'm in agony right now. My sciatica's flowing down my leg, and I'm never actually going to be feeling better again. And it really does set people down. And fundamentally, it's just not true. One of the most important things, well, it's partially true, but let me explain what I mean by that, is that the disc, once it has been injured, or if we take the disc before it's injured, before the disc is injured, it has a upper capacity, right? Human beings, the lumbar spine has an upper capacity to it. It has a maximum level of load tolerance it can achieve. And the best example of this, of an individual that's solely focused on the pursuit of load bearing, of getting strength developed in this section of the spine, might well build up to, we saw very recently a deadlift done by Thor or half Thor, the guy out of Game of Thrones, and it was over 1,000 pounds. I think it was 505 kilos. So we know that if an individual, oh, thank you, if an individual has the capacity to build that, what kind of load tolerance have you guys built in your lower back? And I think the argument for so many people is that we have not spent our entire life to the point before we injured our back building strength and resilience into our lumbar spine. I was listening to something the other day and it was talking about 75% of the US population is overweight or something like that. We are quite clearly not pictures of all that is possible in our body in terms of the adaptation. And so we look to perhaps the elite athlete to see what is possible in the real world. And we realize that actually we are doing nothing like that. So when we have an injury and we say this herniated disc is never going to be the same again, the thing that we need to take from that is I will never have the capacity, or my herniated disc will never have the capacity to build to that level again. It's always going to have this upper echelon limitation to it. And that's important. But the reality is for you and I, it's like our car, our back is like a Ferrari. It can go to a top speed of 240 or 220 miles an hour. But most of us are driving it around every day at 20 to 30 miles an hour. Maybe if you're a particularly competitive athlete, you might be driving yours around each day at 150 miles an hour, but you're nowhere near that top speed. And so when you have that herniated disc at L5S1 or that L45 bulging disc, and it is never going to be the same again, what we're meaning is your disc is never going to drive at 240 miles an hour like it could have done if you had all of the resources. But functionally, fundamentally, I think the most important thing to take away in these kind of scenarios with those kind of comments is that, yes, we have a injury to our lumbar spine. If we've had a herniation or a sequestration or an extrusion of this disc material, it is never going back in there again, which is a fair statement.